The Caribbean is the place of the exotic. It remains that way in consciousness, for it has been overly colonized and highly robbed of its culture and resources by the colonizers. We are intrigued by its stories because, frankly, colonizers in our civilizations have sought desperately to erase them from history. It is due to this neglect and victimization of the world, not just in terms of culture, that the region is beset by the most of the world's gravest problems. The facts. The Caribbean is a region consisting of the Caribbean Sea located southeast of Gulf of Mexico and North America, east of Central America, and to the north of South America. It comprises 7,000 islands, islets, reefs, and cays. It takes its name from the Carib, an ethnic group present in the Lesser Antilles and parts of neighboring South America at the time of the European contact. The list of islands in the Caribbean are Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Aruba, Bahamas, Barbados, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Grenada, Guadeloupe, Haiti, Jamaica, Martinique, Montserrat, Netherlands Antilles, Puerto Rico, Saint Barthélemy, Saint Kitts and Nevis, Saint Lucia, Saint Martin, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos Islands, and finally United States Virgin Islands. The climate is tropical, but rainfall varies with elevation, size, and water currents. Warm, moist trade winds blow consistently from the east, creating rainforest, semi-desert divisions on mountainous islands. Winters are warm but drier, if they even visit the region at all. Mostly winter months are characterized not by the cold weather, but rather by the visitation of hurricanes, which at times hit the region and usually strike northwards of Grenada, and to the west of Barbados. Now, these natural disasters would not pose such a greater threat to the islands had they been provided with the infrastructure and means to handle such calamities. The problem roots back to the neglect of Europeans to properly develop their colonies, for they were far too obsessed with taking advantage of the islands without a thought as to giving back to its society. Thus, without the proper means to exist, without the infrastructure due a country, the region is highly unstable to the moods of Mother Nature. So what happens when a tempest arrives? On January 12, 2010, we found out. One of the poorest and least developed countries in the world, Haiti, has been suffering and struggled in recent years with health crisis, severe environment degradation, and an annual barrage of hurricanes. That's not all that plagues her. Being situated at the fault line of North American and Caribbean tectonic plate, she is prey to the rumbles on the crust that shake her island, or the half of the Hispaniola island she shares with the Dominican Republic. What is now confirmed as the worst earthquake in the region in more than 200 years befell Haiti on that best day in January. An introduction assessment from Haiti's government estimated that 150,000 dead bodies were found. The capital of Haiti, Port-au-Prince, lies in ruins. Not only were bodies found, but thousands of people were trapped in the ruins of government buildings, foreign aid offices, and shantytowns. Many buildings collapsed as well, such as schools, hospitals, and most importantly, a prison. For out of every 5 Haitian lives in poverty, and now, after this incident, I'd argue that number has increased to 6 out of every 5. The earthquake is not the end of the story. With it come other problems. Firstly, because of the ruptures in the tectonic plates, the earthquake may contribute to cause a tsunami elsewhere in the region or the world. Another possibility is liquefaction, whereby, because of the shaking of the ground, the unstable soil highly infuses with water begins to act more like thick fluid than solid ground. The ground then begins to give away, not just to cause landslides, but to literally enclose upon itself and act like quicksand. I suppose the only positive thing that came out of this particular disaster, if it can be said to have one, lies in the political ramifications this tragedy created. In a way, it was a wake-up call for the more robust nations, who were originally colonizers, to realize how much they had victimized their colonies by robbing them dry, not just of its natural resources, and deforested them to the point that the land is so vulnerable to landslides at times of earthquakes, but also by not building the appropriate infrastructure to prepare such destitute nations for disasters, such that simple disasters that could cause less damage are actually magnified in the midst of less developing countries. This tragedy has allowed the world to come together in a unified effort to not just repair the damage of the earthquake, but also redisplay unto as the skeletons buried and erased from history that re-emerge when the ground turns upon itself. Quite literally, in fact, in the case of Haiti.